Welcome to another episode of United for a Healthy Stoughton. My name is Stephanie Patton and I am the Prevention Coordinator for the town of Stoughton. And today we are talking about the Unity Project. So I have two guests with me here in the studio today. One of them is Tran, who is our AmeriCorps Massachusetts Promise Fellow. And we're going to talk about what that means in a second. And I also have Forrest Lindwall with me, who is with Friends of Stoughton Center. So thank you, both of you, for coming today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So let's start, Dee, by talking a little bit about what Mass Promise Fellow and AmeriCorps is and how fortunate the Youth Commission is to have a Promise Fellow in our office. And then we'll talk for the rest of the episode about what the Unity Project is.
Okay. So the Massachusetts Promise Fellow is an opportunity that is bringing fellows to nonprofits all over Massachusetts. And we, as a fellow, work with young people to provide them a healthy start, an opportunity to serve, an effective education, a caring adult, and so much more.
Yep. Awesome. And the Youth Commission has been the benefit. We've sort of been a recipient of an AmeriCorps Promise Fellow for the last at least 7 years. And we think even actually a few years prior to that. And it's been awesome because what it provides us is it gives the town an opportunity to have a full-time person serving in the community, in this case working out of the Youth Commission. And Dee works directly actually with young people at the high school, really primarily leading the Stoughton Leadership Institute. So you want to say a little bit about what that is? And because those are the kids who really helped put on the Unity Project.
Yeah, so I work with a group of teens from Stoughton High School, and we learn about leadership skills, and we run workshops and do community service all together, and they just develop themselves before they go on to college.
Awesome. Great. And so the Unity Project is an awesome example of a really cool community service project that happened here in Stoughton under your leadership. I also want to give a plug. So Dee is a Stoughton High grad, which is kind of exciting. She's the first Stoughton High grad that we've had in this position in a while. Actually, we had a number of years back. But in recent history, she's our first Stoughton High grad. And so that, I think, makes the position actually extra special because she is really connected to Stoughton, and giving back in her own community is really important. And we actually, our Promise Fellow next year will also be a Stoughton High grad, so we're starting a little legacy of bringing folks back to do service, so that's really exciting. So let's talk about the Unity Project. So Dee, I'm going to have you talk a little bit about what it is and sort of what the goals were, and maybe Forrest, you can jump in too and help explain from your perspective what that looked like so our folks at home can see. And I know Jeff's going to throw up some photos for us as we're talking so people at home can see what this looked like.
So the idea was a project that we got from our neighboring towns. We saw that Easton did it, so I applied for a grant through the Mass Cultural Council, and they gave us the money to do it, but also this is an opportunity for our kids in the Leadership Institute to learn about project planning, fundraising, and community service. So this is a project that we wanted to bring and use to bring the community together, and it involves just interaction and putting a lot of your characteristics out there into a public art display.
So can you walk us through, so what happens like on the day of a Unity Project? What do people do? What is the experience that they have? And Forrest, feel free to jump in here too, because Forrest did a ton of support around this project.
Yep, so Forrest actually gave us the start where he connected us with a lot of community members that would help us and gave us a lot of supplies and support that we needed in order for that to happen. And when you come into it, you'll see a lot of PVC pipes just standing there really tall, and you might not know what it is, but one of our volunteers would come and give you a worksheet that had a lot of identifiers on it, such as I'm a Stoughton resident, or I'm a student, or anything that relates to you, and you just circle that, and each PVC pipe was labeled with a number. So the volunteer would then bring you to the first number on your paper and give you a yarn, and they would help you tie it, and you will just continue your journey of mapping out who you are with the yarn and intertwining it between the PVC pipes.
Great. So what's sort of the end goal of this? Like why would it be important for people to participate, do you think, in this project? Like what are we trying to pass on to folks here?
So this is just a tangible visualization of what unity is, and when people see it, they feel more connected to it, and we just wanted to have people be involved and let them know that they are involved and they're important in this community.
Great.
Our first involvement was that Dee reached out to Pam McCarthy, the Economic Development Director for the town, who really was instrumental in getting the Friends of Stoughton Center off the ground.
Yep.
And I have a younger daughter who did an AmeriCorps program in Washington State. And so I have a soft spot in my heart for that. So Dee was, she came to a couple of our meetings, and we were scheduled to do a carnival in the spring, but between the high school construction and dates with the carnival operators, that fell through. And Dee wanted some form of something that was going to draw community people. And the only thing I could think of was the Memorial Day Parade, and I looked at Faxon Park as a possible location. So I went to see Mike Pizarra, our veterans agent, and I explained it to him, and I didn't want anything to detract from the celebration that is Memorial Day. But I told him, you can Google this Unity project, which he did on his computer right away in his office. And he said, yeah, we can work this out. And I kind of dropped the ball a little bit at that point, and I know you picked it up to help him to get back to Mike and then to the Board of Selectmen to get their permission. So Dee and I walked Faxon Park and figured we could put the pipes in about a 30-foot diameter, and you had 32 in the outer circle and the one in the middle. And so my wife and I went on Memorial Day that morning, and when I saw the sheet of paper that she had of 32 different traits, are you a veteran, are you bilingual, are you a student, are you a parent, and people just circled what applied to them, so that when they started from the middle, they went to that number. So they might have gone to post number 2, 7, 10, and it just started to get depth, okay, which was, if you stood back, okay, you could see the depth of it. And the beauty of it, I think for me, was it stayed up for a week afterwards. And people rode by, and as you rode by, you saw it. It was about this deep. And on social media, it just took off. People said, what was that? What happened? How did it happen? And after these ceremonies for Memorial Day, we probably had another 100 people or so come through. At one point, we had about 50 people, husbands, wives, dogs, children. It was not easy for one person to do it. Kind of needed one person to hold the string, one person to hold the clipboard. But it was fun to watch. It really was. It was. You just had a feeling that this was something unique, and what a wonderful idea. And again, having it stay up there for a week afterwards, I think made a real strong statement to the community.
And one of the reasons I really love this project too is I feel like it sends a really good message to our kids about the different ways that they're connected to the community and how we're all, we can be unique and different, and also, literally that visual web of where everybody comes together and intersects. And, in my work with prevention, we know that those connections are really, really important. And so the more connected kids feel to the community, the less risk they have of getting involved in behaviors like substance abuse or other types of things that can be dangerous for them. So I love this, and I also think it was an amazing experience for the students to be involved.
I called my younger daughter, she doesn't know it. I said, you have to come see this.
Came
over in the afternoon and
introduced
her to Dee. And she did it.
I had the privilege of experiencing this in Easton last year at one of their community events, and I did it with my daughter who was 6 at the time, and it was really interesting to fill out that sheet of traits and to talk to her. So I did one for myself, and then we did one for her, and some of the things she didn't understand what they were, so we were able to have a really interesting conversation about what some of the different things were, and then helping her walk through with her string and seeing how that was the same and different from what I put up was really a great, so I feel like it's a great growth experience for our families too.
Absolutely.
So I know we have a little video too, so I think Jeffrey can maybe put that on while we're talking so people can sort of see what that means as people are walking through the project. So what was the community's reaction? So I think for either of you, you both were there all day. What were some of the kinds of things folks had to say about this project?
Go ahead.
I think because it was so different, everyone was a little hesitant, but then once we showed them how to do it, they were so involved and they loved being a part of it. And also the fact that the kids were able to put up a fundraiser to help with the Veterans Office of Stoughton, and the community were able to get homemade Oreo covered in chocolate that were red, white, and blue. So it was just an overall great experience for everybody, and we were able to raise $162 for the office.
Great, just by selling Oreos.
For the Veterans Office.
For the Veterans Office,
that was great. That was terrific.
So that's a nice tie-in. Forrest, what kinds of things did you hear people saying?
The first thing that struck me was there were a couple of other adult volunteers there early in the morning, 8:30, 8:45, whatever time we got there, and people that didn't know, and had some really nice conversations with them while we were getting this thing sort of set up. So it was a bringing together of people who wouldn't necessarily, go together somewhere or know each other or whatever. And that, I think, was the part that I liked the most. People engaged one another, particularly those who maybe knew each other, but more likely than not didn't know each other. And that's what it was about. I will confess, I didn't do it. My wife did it. But I stood on the gazebo with my iPad, and I was taking pictures and video and listening to the conversations. And the dogs running in the middle of it. It was just, it was an engaging community celebration, and that's what the goal was. So I just walked away saying, I know we achieved, Dee achieved her goal for the community, which I just felt, just real proud about that.
And I agree with you. I was driving by it every day on my way to work, and because I come up by Faxon Park down Walnut Street, and it was really amazing to just see it every day, and and to watch it and think about all the other folks who were going to see this thing and wonder about, I wonder what that is, and hopefully kind of engage in their own way, or maybe stop and park their car and get out and walk around and take a look at it and be able to sort of experience it underneath it and around the park. Because it was really, like you'd said, it's this beautiful artwork that represents, who we are as a community, right, in a very positive way, which is nice. So what do you think about us doing this again? What do you think do you think that this is a project that would be, for either of you, something that the community should make a tradition? What do you see would be the benefit to that, or maybe some challenges?
I think it would be awesome if we could do it again. We got such a really great reaction the first time, and now that we know what to do, it should be easier and better for us to just put it together. But now that people have an idea of what it is and how it works, it might bring out more people of the community.
Great. Forrest, what do you think?
I'm wondering, I'd be fine with doing it again. I'm just wondering if there might be a better location and under a better set of circumstances, and I don't know if that is. I think of if we could do it maybe on the lawn of the Unitarian Church in the center of town, where there would be a lot more people that that could see it from
visibility
from other communities. A majority of vehicles going through Stoughton Center aren't necessarily Stoughton residents. They're pass-throughs or whatever. So I think Faxon Park we were fine for the community for Stoughton. But I think we could do it perhaps in a little bit more public place. But it's also good to look at what's happening in other communities across the country. And maybe there's something different, or maybe you do this, which is easy to do, plus something else.
That's right.
Okay. But I know Friends of Stoughton Center are very supportive. That's the one good thing about Friends of Stoughton Center. We can get behind pretty much anything that strikes people's fancy. And you're always concerned if it's art. Well, we don't want to control what the architecture is. The artist is going to do what the artist is going to do. So we were thrilled with just the way that this turned out.
So let's talk about there were a lot of moving parts to pulling this off. So it looked really easy on the video, and the way you talked about it made it seem like, oh, it was no problem. We just pulled this off, right? And I know from working in Office with Dee that it was not that simple. So you talked about initially you went to the Friends Stoughton Center and you presented to them. Let's talk about who else was involved in making this successful.
So we also went in front of the Board of Selectmen, where my kids in the Leadership Institute presented with photos, and that was their first time presenting in front of town members, and they were granted a permit. So we got that out of the way, and then we had to go get supplies from True Value, who is also a strong community member, and they provided us with discounts and helped us get what we needed. And then from there we had to ask the DPW for their help in setting up, because that was a lot of handiwork that I couldn't handle myself. A lot of manual
labor, right?
You have to share about the pipes. The
story
pipes.
of the pipes,
in the manual they tell you to get specific pipes, but like other things too, and they don't really tell you what the measurements should be. And I followed the manual because I had no idea what I was doing, and
which is a good thing to do.
The pipes ended up being the wrong size, and we found that out the weekend of the Unity project. So I panicked, and then we had to get new pipes from Home Depot right away. And we just had so many abundance of pipes that we had no idea what to do with. And it was just a big struggle, but
DPW
some
was
quick,
really good setting this up. Okay, on the Friday before, what they did was they just took some iron rods and pounded them in and then stuck the pipe over them, so they didn't have to dig up holes or dig up the grass. And they did a pretty good measurement all the way around so that they were evenly spaced in about a 30-foot diameter, plus the pole in the middle. So DPW they were terrific.
Yeah, they've been so supportive of all of our projects when we ask them to do things that maybe seem a little out of the box.
But those were 3-inch pipes. There was a big pile of 2-inch pipes right alongside.
So lesson learned for next
time.
Sort
of hidden out of the way.
Yeah, the pipe diameter is actually
the right
really
pipes
important.
for the next year.
Right, that's right. So those are the things that people don't see, but that all happen. But sort of fixing that problem also was kind of there was like a lot of collaborative stuff happening in the background, and people who are connected to each other in the community kind of helping each other out and saying, okay, well, we can do this with Home Depot, and I know this person at the DPW, and let's all work together we're going to solve this problem because we need to do this project, and it's really important.
So who decorated all the cookies?
The kids of the Leadership Institute.
Is that right?
They spent hours and hours decorating the cookies and coming up with a design and wrapping them all together and then selling them ahead of time to make sure.
They were terrific.
They were terrific. So the students made, I don't even know how many hundreds of Oreo cookies, right? Hundreds. Decorated Oreo cookies, and then sold them that day. And then all of that money went to the Veterans Office, which is excellent. So that's a really nice tie-in with the Memorial Day theme, and which was a great opportunity for the kids to give back. I was at the Board of Selectmen's meeting that night when you guys presented, and the board was very, very supportive of this project, which was excellent. And I know that the Veterans Agent, Mike Pizzar, also spoke very highly in support of doing the event.
He is really, really a good soldier in the community.
So that was awesome too. So it was really nice on that evening to sort of see everybody from sort of that lens at Town Hall coming together around this as well. So I think, knowing that this isn't something that, on one day on a whim, Dee was like, this would be a great idea. I mean, she wrote a grant proposal to help cover the expenses of this, but now we own all those pipes, right? So if anybody needs pipes to do a community project, we're happy to loan out some pipes. We have a lot in our office. So I think that's also really important. What are some of the things that the kids had to say about the project and being involved in this type of community service? Because it looks different from some of the other community service projects they've done in the past.
During the process, they were very focused and organized, and they knew what they had to do in order to get goals. But when it actually happened, they were so proud of themselves, and they were so happy to be there. Even though the weather was really bad and it was cold, they stayed to the end, and they were great troopers in that, and they were just proud of how it came out.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that they were all too shy to be here today.
So
we said, okay, well, we'll film the show in the summer, and we'll see if we can get some of the students to come on the air with us, and they were all too camera shy. So That's why we don't have any students here with us today.
Should have done it during a six-period study or something.
Right, maybe, yeah.
They'd all been here.
During the day. So, you know, we are hopeful that maybe this is a project that we can continue, or like Forrest said, maybe we can build on this next year because we have some experience. We're fortunate that we will have another Promise Fellow next year, and we will have the Youth Leadership Institute happening again. The Friends of Stoughton Center obviously continuing to go strong. So I think there are a lot of opportunities for us to continue to do this work all together, and you know, and continue to really support a strong, healthy community and doing some of these positive things. Do either of you have any other sort of last thoughts or remarks about, you know, what was great about this day, or people that we need to make sure we thank that we maybe forgot about?
Yeah, I want to thank Karen McDonald from the Council on Aging, because she really rescued me when the pipes were wrong size. Yep. And it wouldn't happen if she wasn't there. And everybody else who were just involved in any way, the volunteers, just the people who got us connecting with other people, that wouldn't have gotten us where if you didn't help us. And it was truly a community project. Like, everybody who did anything helped us. And
I know Forrest did a ton of promotion on Facebook. I saw all your pictures. I was away that weekend, but I was watching this unfold virtually, which was pretty cool as well. And so even people who physically, they just couldn't be there, were able to hopefully partake in some way because they were able to watch it happen online.
You needed to see it sort of in the video.
You
know, and I was, like I said, I was on the gazebo, so I had a little bit of an elevation to it, and that came out nice. One of the things that struck me long after this was the Friends of Stoughton Center. I drove my car in the 4th of July parade because we sponsored the Uncle Sam juggling on stilts.
Oh.
and the woman who was doing the hula hoops, in case they need support. So I'm just sort of following them behind. But when they lined us up at the beginning of the parade, we were behind to the rear of the diversity committee. And so I was able to get all of them together and take a picture with our Uncle Sam on his stilts. You know, and I just titled it, you know, the Diversity Committee Unity Project, Friends of Stoughton Center, and I posted it on Stoughton Enthusiast. It was amazing. There was just a number of people that liked it or chimed in on it or whatever. It's there's a residual that you don't realize. People have it in their recesses of their mind that they remember it. And that it was good, and it just, for me, brought it all back on the 4th of July. That was a lot of fun.
Which the weather was the opposite that day, right?
It was a beautiful
really
day.
Hot.
It wasn't that cold.
On Memorial, it was cold for Memorial Day. It was cold for the end of May, right? So I'm sure that was a little bit of a challenge for people. I think, though, too, what you had said, Forrest, was right, that, you know, if we were to do this again, that now there are a lot of people who really had that experience and will be able to say to their friends and neighbors, this is really positive, you should go out and participate in this, because the more people that do it, sort of the deeper that yarn net gets and the more intricate the web gets. And so, and it really is a community art project. It's a reflection of what everybody did. And we have
pictures from this year as a part of the promotion.
That's right.
Not on a Google website somewhere, but actually, you know, Stoughton Enthusiasts or wherever, we can post again. So.
Right, it's something that we did here, and it was really great here. And
and people see their friends and neighbors doing it.
Yep. And so I think that's really exciting. So I think that probably brings us to the close of our show. So I want to thank both of you for coming out. And I think, again, it's an incredible project, and I hope we can see it again. It was really nice to be driving by that for that week and sort of seeing it up there as, you know, here's who we are, and, you know, as a connected community that cares about each other and really can kind of all come together in one space despite any of our differences. And I think that's a really, really important message for us all to continue to carry and for our young people to have in town.
It is.
So thank you all so much.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Hopefully lots of people will see this, and we'll be looking forward to the next iteration of the Unity Project in Stoughton.
Great.
Thanks.